Welcome back to another lesson 45 on continuing the retopologizing. Yes, it is a difficult and strange, bizarre word, but that is, I believe, the technical term for in the 3D modeling world. So, as we change the retopology of this model using the manual workflow, as we are doing right here, we are now on to the upper leg of our sculpted model, as you had seen in our previous lessons, and we are just going over it right now, down and along the curvature, using the snapping tool that's enabled, grabbing each vertex, and then pressing F, as you can see, and then selecting all the verts that we want to join together. So again, just like the previous videos, I don't want to bore you with too much of the details. Nothing really new or exciting going on in this video. Just an overview of everything we have basically covered. There's not great in-depth information to go over. Just make sure the retopology you are doing is nice and fitting for your model. There might be some scenarios where you may have noticed you've gone the wrong direction, or you feel like, hang on, if this was a better quad flow going this way, you may want to change it. So the reason I've decided to do the last few lessons like this is because it's a really good practice, and it's not something you can just learn overnight. Maybe some really clever people out there can probably do that, but still, it takes time and practice to definitely do this. So, even myself, I've been doing it for some time, and I've noticed a lot of mistakes. Say if I was to go over an older model, I have noticed the odd quad flow that I'm thinking, hang on, that shouldn't have been like that. I can change this to make it look like that. It really depends on the nature and what kind of asset it is you're 3D modeling, I suppose, and what it is used for. Also, a nice little tip for you guys is when you say you're building a scene and you want to render a nice animation, anything that's up close and detailed, okay, you want decent topology. For example, you may want high poly for something up close that's in detail, that's in eye shot, that people will be looking at. So you want that to make that really, you want the quality to look really good. And then you might have something that's not far in the distance, in the far too background, but maybe like a store or a shop or a house or something that's just in the background but not too far away from the main scene. You might want that to be medium poly, and then things in the very far distance, at the very far back, that won't really get to see much of the scene shot there, depending on how you're making it, but you want that to be high poly, so the performance for whatever it is you're making can be really good. And again, it all depends on what you're making it for and who's it for, and if it's like a AAA game or something. I don't know too much information about AAA games, only that they need to be precise, accurate, and very high quality in making the models. I wouldn't say I'm quite at that level yet, but maybe not that far off. But over so many years of practicing, maybe a few more years. One can only hope, eh? I'd love to be building for a AAA game. That'd be amazing. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. But anyway, that's enough of my rambling. As we are just going over and retopologizing the model, as you can see, you can just extrude out your faces and then snap them onto the side. I'm probably sure you're fed up of listening to me repeat myself. Maybe I should put some music on or something so you guys can hear. But no, if you've come all this far, all this way, watching through all the lessons, kudos to you, honestly. I appreciate the people that are watching and want to learn, and I'm always more than happy to help people that have any good questions, or well, any questions. Feel free to drop a message in my Discord, or try and find me on my Discord. It's SwiftyGaz, double Z. So that's Swifty and then GA double Z. So yeah, you can always search and look up for me and join my Discord. You're more than welcome. Drop us a message, or if you have any improvements you want to make on your model, feel free to reach out and ask. I'm always happy to help everyone and anyone, and I'm hoping my lessons haven't been too overlooked, because there's so much to learn, there's so much to take on, and it can be very difficult and daunting and quite overwhelming in some areas. But with plenty of practice, you can definitely achieve what you want to make and what you want to build. I do like to design and create environments, buildings, puzzles, games, all sorts. Using it basically in the past, I've made worlds and that for VR platforms, and from there I want to learn and do something new and different, and I took up sculpting and modeling and learning how to make anatomy parts for characters and avatars, looking at some really good sculpt artists online, and obviously taking courses and college courses in the past that I done years ago to get to where I am today. However, you can self-teach yourself a lot of stuff, which is really cool, and it's definitely rewarding when you have finished your amazing model and you've uploaded it, or say for example a client is wanting to build a game and you see your model in their game. It's a very nice it's a really nice feeling to watch the creator of a game use your model in their game, which is absolutely amazing. Because then I can just go, hey, I created that model, and then the person looks at you like you're talking crazy. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I think there's not really much to say much on the model. I'm just speeding through now on this leg piece, and we are just extruding to the edges. I think I've mentioned before, but the bigger the topology, like covering giant like space, it's always good, because you can always subdivide later, like this, use a subdivision surface modifier and make it more curvy and round. Sometimes you do get artifacts and geometry changes in some areas. You can't, unfortunately, cater every square to every slot, because it might have a different angle on the sculpt model, but not a problem. I mean, depending on what you're using it for, what you're doing for, you can actually add in you can cut up the quads into triangles if you need to. Like for example, I'll be bringing this into Unity, which a lot of the models in Unity are triangular based anyway. So if I was to make triangles throughout this entire project, that would be because that's okay, because it will be an FBX file, as we will format that later and export it as an FBX file. So always make sure, like I always make sure, to make sure that my clipping on my mirror is turned on when I am coming to the middle of my object, so I can then clip and mirror the vertices to the center. Sometimes you come across and you're just adding in the verts there and it's the center point. Once you've applied the mirror modifier, you can always tidy it up and create bigger spaces, bigger faces if you need, which definitely helps for making it a nice low poly later on. Sometimes I've noticed when making a quad which looks like a triangle with an extra vert in the mesh, it sometimes might tear, like in the actual geometry later on, or you might see like fragments or dark shading and stuff. I could always show you how to make sure your verts are reset and make sure they are all pointing in the right direction, so none of the geometry is tearing as you're looking at the model, or the shade if there's any shading parts. Also, what could also happen sometimes is your normals could be flipped on in the inside. Now, if you press Alt and N, it's the shortcut key to whatever you have selected. You can then recalculate on the outside. That will just then flip your normals on the outside. If they're flipped on the inside, and say you bring it into Unity and you notice, oh, hang on, some of my mesh has got invisible, that would be because the normals are facing on in the inside, and you just need to flip them all on the outside, so the outside of the plane is showing. It could be, I think it is a common issue with a lot of people that beginning out, but there are tools. I'm not sure if there's any tools in Unity to flip them. Maybe in Pro Tools or something, but I know in Blender you can go to your face button at the top there, or you can just select the area or everything. Just press A to select everything, and then press Alt N to recalculate your faces on the outside. Quite happy to go over it. If you have any questions about that, just drop me a message and I'll be happy to help. So at the end of this, we have changed it to a dark, bright kind of gold color, and we're just creasing the edges going all the way around the model, and also just experimenting really, just seeing what looks better when it's sharp, when it's not sharp, and just making it look really nice, just like the previous pieces of the models. Right, I think that's everything for this video. I'm just going to go over and tidy it up a little bit, and that is it for now. So I'm just going to show you, I do like to keep my stuff organized on the top right there, and starting to rename things now so I don't get lost, and I'll catch you in the next lesson. See you later.